swallow, and I don't wanna. There's a dark cloud in my head that smells like marijuana. I can't see straight, I took too many drugs. I'm literally out my brain. Locked in a green room with some fucking strangers asking me about my day, and I don't really know what to say. Hey, hey, hey. I haven't called anyone. I haven't called anyone. Life is full of choices when it's not the one that you just made. Then you're left to thinking if you used your heart or fucking brain. If you made a mistake, if shit's supposed to be that way. These are the things I think of when I'm scared to go to sleep. I'm scared of it.
Hi,
Caroline Baker.
how are you?
Look at you. I mean, seriously, where to even start? We were like, just going over our notes yesterday. And I mean, you opened up for Charlotte's Hands, friends of our show, across the country, released your own amazing album, which we loved, Scared to Go to Sleep, out now.
Yeah,
Had a billboard in downtown Nashville with your face on it. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Like, you do it all.
because I feel like I'm still doing stuff. I guess it just like never ends, but that's just part of it.
Right. But do you find time for yourself, Caro, like to stop at some point and be like, mindful of like all the things that you're achieving, the things that you're accomplishing, or is it just always on the go, go, go?
I feel like I'm learning to do that more now. I feel like there's a lot of I've always hated like having to take a break because I'm like in the back of my mind, I could be doing this, I could be doing something else. So I've always hated doing that, but I think more now recently, like I'm engaged and I like am like realizing that I don't know, it's important to have a balance of like work and home life and like friends and stuff at the
Absolutely.
same time too. And I think if you're always like just looking for the next, it's always good to have goals and everything, but if you can't be in the moment about something, that's kind of like the whole point, like you need to
Right.
really like take a minute and be like, okay, I'm like proud of myself for doing this.
100%. And so congratulations on the engagement, and you nailed it. I think that, doesn't matter how many Grammys you win, doesn't matter how many hits or whatever. I mean, love is the oxygen of the soul, isn't it? And like, that's what a great milestone that is for you.
Yeah, no, it's wild. He's also my drummer, so it's like we do get to like enjoy things together like when we're on the road and stuff. So
Amazing. Amazing. Well, super happy for you, Caro. And, there is something I wanted to ask you about.
Mhm.
And I don't know how to articulate this question really, because I mean, I'm not a musician per se, but there's certain moments in some of your songs, Caro. I mean, there's some songs like you hear driving down, Galton or something like Free Fallin' by Tom Petty, or your song 6 Feet Under or I Don't Miss You, that there's just certain notes that like hit your soul. You know what I mean? Like you get the chills. Like it's like you have to, it's like a trick. It's like a trick that like painters or like some musicians have that like they just kind of like hit your soul and like just give chills to your chills. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if like my question is making sense. Like a feeling, like the feeling that I'm trying to convey.
Yeah, no, I know that feeling. I don't think I like intentionally know how to create that. It's like I think I don't know, a lot of the times when I write, I write very in the moment. Like I don't try to filter myself. Like I always have my phone recording me or like I'll just write down as much like as I can to like kind of brain dump.
Yeah.
And I really try not to filter myself, even if I'm like kind of scared of admitting something too. Like that's just kind of part of the process. So, and a lot of the times when I write too, like I don't know, I've been in sessions where it's like, okay, we're going to write the chorus first and then work backwards because we want people to like latch onto the chorus. But most of the time I write chronologically, like I'll write from the verse and then like keep going because I'm like, I don't know where this is going. I don't know what I'm going to like get off my chest today. So I don't know. I think it's like a matter of just leaning into what your gut is telling you to write about in the moment.
Right. So in other words, an artist cannot sit down and say, I'm going to play A major chord, I'm going to play minor C chord, and people are going to love it. Like there's no real formula. It has to come like from the soul.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like the songs I love the most that I've written have come from like after I've written songs like that, where I'm like trying to formulate something, and I'll just be sitting down and I'll just start messing around on my guitar and stuff will start pouring out naturally. Cause it's like, you can't force emotions majority of the time, or I guess like any of the time, but you can't force authentic emotions, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely, Caro. I hear that. I hear that. And by the way, I'm fascinated by this new alternative like pop scene that's happening here in Nashville. Outside people that don't live here, I live here, I'm in the Gulch. They think of it
Right.
as country music and all that. But there is like a growing alt pop scene, right? And like you are like at the forefront of it. Charlotte's at the forefront of it. I mean, there's so much good stuff coming out. But I mean, Brie Kennedy, friend of our show. But like it's such an exciting time for like the alternative pop scene, right? Like, am I right or am I wrong?
No, you're so right. I think especially like over the pandemic, like the past couple years, for me, I very much have like gone back to listening to a lot of music I grew up on, and like have just trying to kind of been figuring out like, okay, instead of chasing other sounds, like what am I like at the end of the day, what do I gravitate towards listening wise, and how can I like implement that in my own music so I can enjoy listening to myself, like, like how I have other artists growing up. So especially with this, was Scared to Go to Sleep, I was like specifically going back to certain like bands or artists that I grew up listening to, and being like, okay, why did I like that song so much? And paying attention to like what the drums are doing and like what elements they had that give me feeling, and tried to implement like similar techniques in like my own producing and songwriting.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Amazing. And talking a little bit about like, your songwriting and your backstory. I mean, songwriting came later into your life, right? Like pretty much in college at Belmont.
Yeah. I didn't start writing
That's
music
wild.
until until freshman year. It was very bad at first, as it is. But I think because I was surrounded by so many songwriters and
Yeah.
friends that were like on a similar level to me, I felt more comfortable doing it. And I didn't stop because I was like, this is a really bad song. I was like
Right.
still continuing to write and continuing to grow because I had such a good environment to do it in.
But it's incredible to hear this because your songwriting is so like mature and like groundbreaking. And like, and when you hear a song, like you'll never know. That's like a perfect example because, you started writing late, but you're already kind of touching on themes of like what real deep love is, feeling understood, feeling safe, feeling, open emotionally. So in a way, it's incredible when we found that out because it's just like you touched a very mature nerve very early on.
Thanks. Yeah. I mean, for me, like songwriting as well as like production too, and it's all like any instrument. It's the amount of like hours you put into something and growing that, that one thing. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, it's like anything that you do, the more you do it, the better that you will become. So for me, when I started songwriting, I became obsessed with it. So I just started writing all the time. I wrote with like a lot of other people, but also myself. And I think continuing to write by myself helped myself grow as like just a songwriter itself. Cause I know so many people that just can't write a song by themselves. And that's fine because it's like, it's nice to have like people to support the ideas that you're growing in a room. But I really wanted to like keep working on that muscle so that I can write songs like He'll Never Know by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I say to like anybody too that like wants to get into production. It's like you can get so intimidated at first, but it's not as hard as like everyone makes it seem. Like it's
You just
just a
gotta
matter
go
of
for it,
putting in
right?
the time. Yeah, putting in the time, putting in the effort. And yeah, it's really just a matter of like doing, like putting in the work.
I love it.
Yeah.
But kind of, where does this spirit come from? And because, I mean, if my audience still hasn't gotten it, it's pretty obvious that you're like a badass. Okay. And I say it with like the most respect because, you know, you're a fighter, like you never gave up. I mean, I love the part of your story that, you know, you graduated from Belmont and there's like, you know, you're taking meetings all over Music Row, publishers, the whole thing. And, you know, people are kind of giving you the runaround a little bit. But you decide to take, you know, in your own hand, you your own EP, and the rest is history. And now we're here and you're kicking major ass. But like, where does this fighting spirit come from? Like, did it come from growing up, from your grandma? Like, were you always like this? It's like inspiring, actually.
Thank you. I don't know, like I've always been in music. Like I started at an early age. Like I played violin since I was 5. So I've just always been surrounded by it. And I've always known that that's like the thing I'm doing is something in music. But as far as like, I don't know, the work part of it, I think because I never had a backup plan, maybe that's why I've been so like, I don't know, resilient about it because it's like, if this doesn't work, I do not have anything else. Like
Resilient. Yeah.
you know, so I really was like, I don't know. I feel like maybe because there was never an extra plan. I was like, okay, I've got to make this work. And it was never like, I don't know, it was never a thing in my mind to like check the boxes and be like, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this. It was always like, I'll just do it and see what happens, you know?
Yeah.
Because I've had so many like friends, you know, get signed publishing deals in college, or like sign a label deal in college, like all these other things. And nowadays, like there really is no formula for how things happen for your career. It's really just a matter of trying things, and if something happens, something happens. Because I was so set, especially I'd be like, oh, if I get in this showcase, like then this label will see me, and then this thing will happen, and blah, blah, blah. But that is not everyone's path. Everyone has like a completely different path of how like something's going to happen for them.
Yeah.
So mine was just, I don't know, throwing shit at the wall and seeing if it sticks. So
But were you, but even like, even when with stuff that's not music, Caro, like, you know, I don't know, like just like, where you always have that hunger, that grit, like, you know, this is like a core part of you, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think when it comes to things I'm passionate about, for sure.
Yeah.
Like I was not like a math science person. Like schoolwork, I was not at all the same way I am with music.
Right.
But yeah, I think if there's something I'm excited about, like even in high school, like I would like download a software and I would try to like, you know, make like an orchestral version of like a Passion Pit song, because I was like, oh, this is fun. So it's just the things that I really like, I'm gonna lean really hard into them, because that's just my nature, I guess. But yeah, I mean, my mom is also a very hard worker, and so I probably get a lot of my traits from her as well. Sure. Because she's involved in like everything all the time and does not take any breaks. So she's definitely a big influence.
I love that, Caro. I mean, you're being so good with your time. I think you're going to play a song for us, but let me ask you this as well. Yeah, like we've seen you perform. We saw you at the release show. We had to leave early, but we saw like half the show, and I know Charlotte raved about you, the whole thing, and your energy, and your, not only your physiology, but your tone and the way you connect with the audience is like, it's like you see it with people like Mick Jagger or like Bono that have been doing this forever. And I wanted to ask you, like, what is like your ritual to get into this beautiful, not only physical state, but like mindset when you take the stage, because it translates to the audience. It's super powerful.
I don't know. I think I honestly, like, I need like a second before I go on stage to like think about my words, because sometimes my brain goes too fast for my mouth and it's hard for me to talk. So I need a second for that. But then once I'm on the stage, I feel like I try to lean into my lyrics more than anything. And because I know when I've played before and people have come up to me after like crying, being like, that song was my life. How did you do that? I'm like, I don't know, it was my life. So I'm not sure, but that's awesome. And I know that there are people resonating with that, which I never thought that would happen. So it's so cool to see that in the moment.
Sure.
So I really try to just like lean into that moment for anybody that's like feeling alone, or like, because I've been in their shoes too. I've gone to concerts my whole life growing up and had that moment with artists. So I really just want to have that same space for other people.
I love it. So you lean into the songs. Well, Caro, thank you. You said it all. Are you in the mood to take us away with a song?
Yeah, I can do that.
Amazing. Honored.
Is my computer fan a little loud? I'm hoping.
I actually couldn't even hear that there was a fan going on.
Okay. So. It just like is always working.
Right on.
All right. So
by the way, could I give you any guitar, Caro, and you would make it sound good? Or does it have to be like a nice Gibson, this and that, you know? You know what I mean?
I mean, I've got some kind of, what do I have? I have a cheap like nylon guitar that my fiance's cousin like let us have. I don't know. I feel like I can always kind of make something work in the moment, but.
Cool.
So this is my song, Eat Your Heart Out. Just have a sip, at least to start. Let it kick in, straight to the heart. Before the party's over, before the hangover. Eat your heart out, kid. Go take a risk, shoot your shot straight. Run and dive in, fill up your plate. 'Cause the Hollywood lights are short in supply. So eat your heart out, kid. 'Cause you'll never find what you're looking for. Once you get a taste, you'll only want more. As you get older, you wanna go slower. So eat your heart out, kid. Keep your head down, don't take the bait. There's wolves all around waiting for your big break. Go with your gut, it's the one thing you got. And eat your heart out, kid. 'Cause you'll never find what you're looking for. Once you get a taste, you'll only want more. As you get older, you wanna go slower. So eat your heart out, kid. No, you'll never find what you're looking for. Once you get a taste, you'll only want more. As you get older, you wanna go slower. So eat your heart out, kid. Heart out till you get sick, or you're gonna end up wishing you did. It isn't over till you say it's over. So eat your heart out, kid.
Amazing. Caro, thank you so much.
Thank you. My cat came on the desk during the middle of that. I was
executive producer.
I was like, But thank you
That's what
so
they
much
do.
for having me. I've enjoyed this
Absolutely.
conversation so much.
Absolutely, Caro. Have a wonderful 2023 continued success, and I'm sure we'll cross paths somewhere in Nashville.
Thank you. I'm sure we will too.
Take
See you.
care.
Bye. Bye.